Right, you guys, welcome. This is what Time Wizard Refurbished is made out of, right? Today we got the special event of any band card in Edison format, so you can decide any band card that you want added to your deck, and then on top of that, we also have a special bonus thing. We went all out. You can any card that's semi-limited, you can use to 3. Any card that's limited, you can use 2 of it, right? So we went off with a bang right here. Time Wizard Refurbished, right? Doing our own thing, right? It's not if it's right or if it's wrong. It's just about having fun and being innovative with it. But to the left, we do got Cameron. He decided to play Lightsworn. I think he did double charge. Why wouldn't you, right? And then the 3 of, I think it was Honest as well. So instead of 2, he decided to play 3 instead of JD. You know, it could be tricky. Well, to the Kenny did decide to play all 3 JDs. We talked about it. He's like, why wouldn't I want to draw it, right? So we do see Kenny start off. He wins the dice roll. Let's see what he does. But yeah, this, the more we talk about this, the more love that I love, the more that I love this game, right? But then Kenny does decide to do solar. He mills 2. He's already got 2 names. He's got a Lila and a Jane in the graveyard. So he does normal summon Lila. He mills 3. Special summon to Wolf. And you do see Cameron go ahead and have the DD Crow for the Wolf. In an event like this, definitely DD Crow would have been correct to play. I see Cameron rocking that nice, beautiful mat from Out the S. He does use Monster Reincarnation, discarding Necro Garnet. It's kind of strange to add a DD Crow. He summons Lumina and he passes turn, so he doesn't hit anything. I think he was just trying to save the Necro Garnet in case Kenny didn't have another monster to kill the actual Lumina. But he does have Celestia and mills 4. Doesn't hit a wolf this time around. Checking his grave. He probably has Pot of Avarice / Monster Reincarnation. His JD must be ready for some action. But we do see him attack for 23. And he passed his turn. I think the mirror matches get intense, right? Just because you're scared of what they might possibly have, which is like about a lot of power cards. And now that we know that Cameron does have a DD Crow in his hand, Kenny can, yes, play around it, but sometimes you have to play through it. So it's, it can be beneficial for both ends. But he does decide to DD Crow. He does ultimately decide to get rid of the Jane, which would eliminate a name in the graveyard. And that's the one special card Cameron decided to play off the ban list. Hot off the press. You got BLS coming in hot. He does banish the Celestia. I don't know if I agree with special summon in defense just because Aaron and Monk. Although look at the talking about special cards, we see Kenny go ahead and activate his special card, which is Graceful. Ultimately does discard Plague and a Garroth. Which leads me to believe he probably has to have a JD, right? By now, with so many cards milled, all 4 names in the graveyard, it's just a matter of him actually special summoning and blowing up. Considering Cameron only has 2 cards in his hand, but even better, he has Dark Arm. Oh my goodness, he mills 3. So many cards he could have chose. He could have chose to play double Lumina, but I think possibly, Charge is the correct card. He does add the Raikou. Dark Arm is a powerful card still. I forget, not only do you get 3 JD, but you also have the access to Dark Arm in this deck. It's pretty gnarly. And he still has about 4 cards in his hand, so Kenny taking some time. He does dump Wolf special summon. He's trying to get in there for some damage. He does that, Cameron still does have the Necro Garnet from turn 1. So this is where Kenny would have to overcommit if he wants to. I do see slightly, looks like he does have JD, but even then, I don't think it's enough for a game. We're about to see. See how this bad boy plays out. He does summon the Lumina. I'm sorry, the Lila. Kenny debating if he wants to pull the trigger on that JD. And he ultimately does. And he chains DD Crow, targeting the Necrogarna. Oh, and then he stacks a card on top for Plague, so he's going in. He doesn't care about Gores. He uses the effect. The first attack is negated, and 28-17 is more than enough. Well played by Kenny. What a heads-up play. That was the way to do it. Look at him shrugging his head. He's smirking. I know inside he's got a good smile. And then to the left, I'm sorry, Cameron. Your camera died on us. So you turned into Kai, but you're the villain now, buddy. But ultimately, that was a good heads-up play overall, right? And that's the thing about these mirror matches. Sometimes it comes down to what you open. Especially in the Lightsworn match, sometimes you can go off. It's interesting because I think about what they're going to side right now, and I'm like, you really can't do much when it comes to the mirror match, because one of the few cards that you can play against the mirror match is DD Crow, and they're both maining it for this event. And another card, which maybe they are siding into, is some additional Kaikus. Just anything to manipulate the graveyard and not allow your opponent to fully blow you out. But there are many other cards, probably that would be beneficial, but I don't know if they would want to play it just because Soul Release, although it's good, it doesn't necessarily remove the field, which is Lightsworn could potentially build up a board on field and then slowly but surely load up the graveyard. So although yes, Soul Release is an amazing card because you can definitely remove cards from the graveyard, it doesn't do enough where it would remove the monster on board, especially if they manage to mill double wolf off of random Lila or Lumina. So that's a lot of many varieties and many options when it comes to these matches. But we do see Cameron start off. He sets one and passes turn. That's a slow start for him. And then we see Kenny debating on what to do as well. Sometimes, and there's the problem, sometimes they overside. And when oversiding, you just don't manage to draw into your normal engine cards. But we do see Kenny set one. And Cameron does have the right go for the back row. It's a Beckoning Light. He knows 3 Gara, Honest, and Gores. We do see Cameron discard Necrogarna, special with the Gara. He's got the DD Crow, so he hits him for 1,200. He sets one and nails 3. Grinding Beckoning. See, this is what I mean. Sometimes we overside and we don't manage to mill any actual Lightsworn cards. We see Cameron. I'm sorry. We see Kenny set one. Well, one back row, one monster. Kenny does. I'm sorry. Cameron does tribute off the Raikou, targets all back row, which is face down Raikou and the Beckoning.
Lumina? Wait, let me make sure I'm not crazy.
It is looking crazy already. It is already turn 2. They're just going off. So this is what sometimes it just goes like that, right? You get a slow start and then
Lumina for Lumina? That'd be crazy.
Out of nowhere you just go off. So this is
Lumina.
Cameron decide to play the double Lumina, special summons a wolf.
Let's go battle.
So he hits for 1,000 and another 1,000. 21. And 23, it leaves Kenny at 400. He mills 6.
Here we go.
Doesn't mill no wolves. That was just an unfortunate start for Kenny. Yeah, we drew double Beckoning, DD Crow, Raikou. So he does manage to special summon Chaos Sorcerer. He banishes the Celestia just because at this time he really can't get over it past his turn. But so yeah, it's simple battle phase, and Cameron does manage to beat over the Chaos Sorcerer. with Honest. So these games, game 1 and game 2 were, awfully fast.
It never happened.
And that was just unfortunate cards, considering that they played double charge and 3 solar recharge. Yeah, should be able to start milling some stuff quite fast, but I guess that's the luck of the game. I do like Kenny's choice of Graceful Charity just because it gives you another option. In a 40 count deck, if you're playing 3 solar, 2 charge, and 1 Graceful, chances of drawing into your mill, or should I say cards to get in the graveyard, are freaking insane, right? And hopefully we get to see it displayed, but Kenny was trying something spicy with this, right? Which is Graceful Charity with Dark World Brawl, right? If you guys aren't familiar with Graceful, whenever you discard a card, it is not sent as cost, it's just sent as a card effect. And in the case of Dark World Brawl, whenever it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, it lets you draw a card. So good heads up play by Kenny playing that. And also on top of that, which something he informed me and I learned new, which is Beckoning Light, it does not send as cost. So once again, if you manage to have a Brow in your hand, you can definitely discard it, add some lights, then draw an additional card off of Brow, right? So something unique, something innovative. I'm not saying it's always going to work out, but in this case, why not give it a try, right? We got nothing to lose. Either this is all fun and games, nothing crazy. All we're doing is just playing for fun, trying to do a lot of what ifs and innovations. But we do see Kenny start off game 3. He discards Wolf, draws 2, mills 2. He does manage to hit a Wolf, and Cameron does have a Bleed Crow this time around. So he summons Lumina, discards for Garroth. Special summons Garroth. End-phase mills 3. Mills some spells and 1 Lightsworn, so he does hit a name, and he managed to get a plague in the graveyard already. We do see Cameron start off with charge as well. He manages to hit the Necrogarna, which is off to a good start, and he's got a Lightsworn name, so he could definitely add Lumina, discard a card, special summon the Lila from the graveyard, and try beating over his opponent's Lumina, right? It gets pretty tricky. It gets pretty tricky because technically some people can be playing double honest, and I'm not too sure if Kenny was one of those, but he could be playing triple honest, so he could be on 3 honest. But he does add the Garroth, he summons the Lumina, he discards the Garroth, special summons the Garroth. You gotta love Lightsworn mirror matches. Sometimes whoever mills better or randomly just draws better just runs away with the match. And we do see Cameron beat over the Lumina.
Maybe it's 2.
Cameron just making sure he's not getting set up for JD or anything special.
Lumina.
So end phase Luminas. Then we got Garroth didn't hit nothing. He just hit a Cyber and a Kaiku. But we do see Kenny once again. Still, he managed to draw into a charge. Mill the Arc is another charge, and the Honest. So he was on double charge. He does decide to get the Jane. It's kind of tricky because we're scared right here about like Honest, or should I say double Honest. So it can go either way. The only way to really out this cleanly would be a Celestial, which I don't think he has it in his hand right now. And there's no reason to special summon the JD, considering that it's not enough for game, and it would potentially set his opponent up for his own JD. So definitely an interesting way, interesting match right here. Nonetheless, he does have to potentially get rid of that Lumina because they're not applying more pressure for the following turn. Kenny's thinking hard on here.
Ask Chris if he won.
Ultimately, he does decide to summon the Jane. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, he's going to special summon up the Plague.
I'm here, trust me.
I guess he figures not having or not giving your opponent Lightsworn names in the graveyard would be one of the only ways to stop JD from potentially coming out. That's just what I'm looking at. I don't think he'd go into Goyo. With a play like this, you would potentially have to go into Brionic and just give your opponent back the cards. The only thing is that if Cameron draws into Solar Recharge, he's back in the game. Because this is not going to be enough to kill him. Because Cameron did mill the Necro Garnet earlier. So he does pitch a Brow and returns it. And this is what I was talking about. Kenny playing the Brow. In this case, Brow was sent as cost, so he would not be able to draw. But he does manage to banish that Brow, banish the Wolf, special summons, banish the Lumina. He attacks for 1800. He attacks for 1850, and attacks for 2300. And Cameron does.
All done? I think we just put the fucking...
Cameron debating whether he should negate or not. And ultimately he does decide to negate. End phase, he mills 2 and then mills another 2. He managed to hit 1 Lightsworn, draws a card off the Gareth. And it looks like Cameron has double Honest in his hand, which is gnarly. That would be gnarly, depending on what he does or how he does things. He does draw Cyber Dragon, so right now he's probably debating on whether to special summon the Cyber Dragon in Black Rose or just apply a lot of pressure. Special summon Cyber Dragon, which is waiting on the next play. Yeah, there's some tough choices. I did see he has Monster Reincarnation, so he can potentially just go Monster Reincarn, target his own Chaos in the graveyard and do something. Oh my goodness. Tough choices, tough choices. I believe with Lightsworn mirror matches, a lot of the times it's just mind games, right? Which is, oh my goodness, does he have it? Does he not have it? Like, you're thinking, sometimes you outplay yourself because you think too hard on what your opponent might potentially have, rather than just making the obvious play because you're scared of a lot of, oh, he was going to have this, oh, he was going to have this. I get it, at some point you have to be cautious, but you should always try doing your best to do the better play regardless if your opponent has it, right? Even if it's small percentage. Here's when I talk about being aggressive with certain decks. So he does special summon Chaos Sorcerer, he banishes Kenny's Chaos Sorcerer.
I was pissed though. That shit was pain as fuck. It was like that.
So Cameron does declare an attack over this Chaos Sorcerer, and he does use the Honest. So I mean, not a bad play. He managed to get rid of the 2 threats, which is the Chaos Sorcerer and the Brionic. But I'm telling you, once Celestia and this board is done.
And all the good ones are slapped. Yeah. You find the 6 or 7. Honestly, or even like just a habit of 5. You never I think last time I checked, there was only 100.
Kenny's debating on what to do right now.
Oh, that's it. Half are overseas. These half are overseas. Yeah. Super rare though. It's cool, but it's like,
Still a tricky situation.
yeah.
I feel like these Lightsworn matches, you never can make the right play. You just have to
Enough to where you're at.
make the decent play and hope
Let's go with the 4
to
TCG one for 40,000. PSA 9.
Hope to live in the essence that your opponent doesn't have JD. I wonder what Kenny's thinking about right now. It's either, yeah, you crash over the Cyber Dragon, then you normal summon another. Yeah, so ultimately, yeah, exactly. This is what I was thinking. Like, you don't have to overthink it. So he does try to run over it, but he has the Honest. This is where Kenny sets one, Cameron drew into another card. At least we know a double honest is gone, so from my eyes, you know, you guys might be like, oh, why did he leave Gareth in attack mode? Just because you can always bluff out an honest. So,
I'll do it like Spanish.
yeah, and it still baits, it forces Chaos Sorcerer to banish the Gareth. It's crazy how the tide just turned. Everything was looking so good for Kenny, and then all of a sudden, just Chaos Sorcerer and Cyber Dragon did the work. And double honest got him there. So main phase 2, he does hit over the Necro in case you guys aren't able to see that. He goes Monster Reincarnation, adds the honest back to his hand, and now you know everybody. You know he knows everything in his hand. Kenny drew for turn. He looks a little happy. He probably drew into JD. For all we know, because now he knows he has honest, so he has nothing to worry about. Oh my goodness! So he decides to foolish a dark. I'm assuming he's got dark arm just by that, and sure enough, it is dark arm. He banishes, destroys the Cyber Dragon, destroys the actual Chaos Sorcerer. Summons a Lila, attack for 17, and attacks for 28. Exactly game, so GG's for both of these gentlemen. Hell of a game, good way to start off this session. Alright, you guys, catch you guys on the next one. Stick around for some more entertaining duels, you guys. Woo-woo! Who got it? Kenny got it?